If you've got files scattered everywhere and you want one simple place to store, organize, and share them, Google Drive is one of the easiest tools to start with, and you probably already have access if you have a Gmail account. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through all the essentials, from how to upload files, create folders, keeping a drive organized, and I'll even show you how to share files with other people and set the right access permissions so they can view, comment, or edit on your files. And at the end, I'm going to do a quick comparison between Google Drive and OneDrive. So if you're trying to decide which one fits best in your workflow, stick around for that. I've added chapters and timestamps in the description below, so feel free to jump straight to whatever you need. Let's dive in. To get to Google Drive, on the Google homepage, you can click on the Apps Launcher button in the top right and choose the Drive icon here. Or you can visit drive.google.com and it will take you straight to the Google Drive homepage. This is what the Google Drive homepage looks like. It will show you suggested files and folders based on things that you've looked at or worked on or maybe even received in emails recently. But you might find the most helpful area to start in is actually My Drive, which is the main Google Drive folder where everything that you put in there will live, either individual files or folders as well. And it could be things that you create in Google Drive or ones that you've uploaded. There are a few other options on the left-hand side. For example, we can look at Shared With Me, which is all of the different documents that have been shared with you by other people in a timeline order. We've got Recent, which are things that you have recently worked on, not necessarily just created, but have recently opened and made edits to. And also Starred, because you can star any file or folder inside Google Drive to be able to find it really easily. So that's helpful for things that you are going to come back to often. To show you how to do that, let's go back to My Drive. And if I have this spreadsheet here, for example, I could just right click on it and then I can go to Organize and choose Add to Starred. And now that file will also appear in my starred list. Further down on the left-hand side, we've got Trash. So anything that you delete is going to appear there. And also you can look at your storage to understand how much has been used and how much you have left in your account. And I'm accessing Google Drive on the web today, but you can also get it for your mobile phone as an app or on your desktop computer as well. And I'll show you how to get that a little bit later. There are a few options for uploading files to Google Drive. The first thing you can do is click New and then choose either File or Folder Upload to upload a whole folder of items or just individual files. Or if you've got a file on your desktop or somewhere on your computer, you can literally just click and drag and drop it into My Drive like this. You can see it comes up with this blue overlay. It tells you to drop the files to upload them to My Drive. And then it's going to show you this panel on the bottom right as it uploads with the progress of the upload. And then that upload progress changes to a check mark. And if I mouse over, I can click Show File Location, and it will take me to that file inside my Google Drive so I can see it easily and quickly. I can hide that panel by clicking the Close button in the top right there. Now, it might be that you don't just want to upload files or folders, but you actually want to create them from scratch in Google Drive as well. So what I'm going to do is click on the New button on the top left of the screen, and you can see that I've got the option to create either a new folder at the top here. I can click, it will ask me for a folder name. I can call it Jotform, for example, and click Create. Or I can click on New, and I've got the options to create things like Google Docs and Google Sheets and Slides and so on right here inside Google Drive, and it will store them in whichever folder I'm in. So if I go into the Jotform folder like this, and I click New and then choose Google Sheets, it will create a blank Google spreadsheet for me like this. But if I go back to my Google Drive, it's going to appear in this Jotform folder. And there's my form responses sheet. And organizing your Google Drive is easy as well. So say, for example, I didn't want this file to be in this folder. I can just click and drag it from this folder over into My Drive, for example, on the left of the screen. Or when I hover over My Drive, it shows me all of my other folders that I could drop it into as well. Let me drop it into My Drive like this, and I'm going to click on My Drive to take me back here. And at the moment, I'm using this icon view, which is good. It shows me these previews of the files. But if you've got a lot of things, what you might want to do is click on the list layout option on the top right of the screen here. And now everything is in a list, which means you can fit more on the screen at a time. You can probably see here that my Gemini Gems folder is actually blue. So another way you can organize your My Drive is to right click on a folder like this and then choose Organize and then choose a folder color. So I could make this Employees folder red, for example. possible just to make it stand out. Another nice thing about Google Drive is that it can integrate with other tools like Jotform. So if I have a Jotform form like this one, I can make sure that all of the responses get put into a sheet inside my Google Drive, or if it's a form where people submit different files, they can upload and those files will be dropped into that folder as well. Let me show you how that works. Here's a sales tracker form that I have in Jotform. I'm going to click on settings up here, and on the left-hand side, there's an integrations option. So if I click on there are lots of different integrations inside Jotform, but I'm looking for this one here, which says Google Drive. I click on Google Drive, and then I need to authenticate it, which means Jotform will connect securely with my Google Drive. I just have to click through and provide some permissions for it to be able to do that. And then I get taken to this settings screen inside the integration in Jotform. The first thing I need to do is provide a name for the folder where submissions will be stored. So I'm going to put Jotform as the folder name like this. And I can have the option to create a subfolder for every submission. So if I were getting employees to upload files each time and I wanted to store them in a separate folder for each thing that gets submitted, maybe it's because it's a different patient that we're talking about or a different deal that we're closing, I could enable that. And what's nice about this integration is it can take those submissions and put all of the information into a PDF and then store each submission as a PDF in that folder. So I choose the default template here and then click Save. And now that integration is enabled. So to test it, I'm going to preview this form over here and fill it out. And once I submit that form, I can go to my Jotform folder in Google Drive now and see that it would have created a PDF with that submission information. So let's go have a look. In Google Drive, I can just go to this Jotform folder here. And inside that Jotform folder, we'll see this is the submitted PDF with the submission number on it. I can double click to preview it, and then we see all of the information that was submitted. A really handy, quick way to integrate Jotform directly with Google Drive. And it's not just the submitted information that can be saved in Google Drive. If the form has a PDF upload option or allows people to upload any file, we can have those stored in Google Drive as well. A powerful feature across most of the Google apps is that you can share files and folders and work on them together directly from Google Drive. So I'm going to go back to my drive here and imagine that I want to give one of my colleagues access to this Boost Your Productivity folder. So I right click on it and choose Share, and I've got the option here to share. It's going to pop up this box where I can put in an email address. So let's invite one of my colleagues, Tanya, here. And when I add her name, it then gives me the option to make them an editor, a commenter, or a viewer. So an editor can add, move, and organize files and edit all of the files inside that folder too. A commenter is able to go into a file and leave comments on it, so maybe highlight a part of a Google document and leave a comment about what needs to change. And a viewer can simply see everything in that folder and then view each of those files individually too. I'm going to leave Tanya as an editor here. I could add a message if I want to, and when I'm ready, I click Send. And I'll know that this folder is a shared folder at a very quick glance because it's going to update and show me a little person silhouette inside the folder icon. And so now I can see that that is a shared folder without having to right click and check. Now, if I wanted to share this differently, perhaps I wanted this folder to be available to absolutely anyone with the link. Maybe it's a resource I'm sharing. I can right click and choose Share again, go to Share. And what I'm going to do is change from restricted at the bottom here to anyone with the link. And we're saying that anyone with the link is a viewer, so they can view the files within that folder, and I can simply click the copy link button to get that link here. Then absolutely anyone, whether they're logged in or not, because it's anyone with the link, would be able to view that folder and the files inside. Always be careful with the sharing settings. Obviously, when it's restricted, only people that are listed in this list can access those files. But if you make it available to anyone with the link, then literally anyone with the link can access it. And if you ever want to remove it, you just come back here, click anyone with the link, and then change it back to restricted like this. And once I click done, now nobody else is able to access that apart from Tanya and me and anyone else that I decide to share with from here on out. There are lots of options when it comes to finding different files in Google Drive. Earlier on, I shared that you can click on Recent to see the most recently edited files. You can star files, any file or folder, to appear in the starred files list here and make them easier to access, or go to Shared with Me to find things that were recently shared with you. But one of the most powerful ways to find files in Google Drive is using search. And if you've got access, search will also include Gemini's capabilities so that you can ask questions directly. But let's imagine we just want to use a single word to search for. So I might search for the word eco-gadget, which is a pretend company that I've got lots of files about in my drive. And it shows me these suggested files without me even hitting enter or needing to see a search results page. And I could just click to open any of these. Or if I hit enter on my keyboard, it will take me to a dedicated search results page where it's showing me all the files that mention eco-gadget. And this isn't just searching file names, it's also looking at the content of files if that word is mentioned within them. But if you want to take this a bit further, or you want to whittle down that search in some way, you can click on the Advanced Search button, which is this control panel icon in the right-hand side of the search box, and it will pop up lots of different options here, where you could, for example, just choose a particular type and say you only want to search for documents, choose an owner, specifically match the file name, a location within a particular folder, for example, and so on. There are lots of powerful options here. Simply click search when you're ready and it will show you all of the results based on the information that you've put in advanced search. And at the top of any search results page, you can also use these chips to whittle it down even further. So I could click on people, for example, and then choose Tanya and say I only want to see files where Tanya is the owner, and then we'll see that actually she doesn't have any that match that criteria. This is a really quick and easy way without having to look through that whole advanced search list to make your search even narrower. Unfortunately, there isn't an option in Google Drive to copy a whole folder. You'll notice if you right-click on a folder that there is not an option to copy. There is for individual files though, so if I right-click on an individual file like this one, you'll see a make a copy option. So the workaround for this is to open a folder and see all of the files inside it. You'll then need to click and drag to highlight all of the files in that folder like this, and then right-click and choose make a copy. And once you've got a copy of all of those files, you can simply click and drag them into another folder. So here are the 4 copies like this. I can highlight those and then click and drag them like I did earlier on over my drive, and I could drop them in another folder like this one. It will double check with me that I definitely want to move them because it means permissions might change about who has access and so on, and then I just click move. Another way around this is to write a custom app script, which is Google's programming language, which will help you automate this process, or you could work with AI to do that for you. Google Drive isn't just available on the web. You can also download an app to your desktop to automatically sync files from specific folders from your computer into Google Drive. The easiest way to get it is actually just to search Google for Google Drive Desktop, and you should see a link that goes to the Google Workspace Learning Center that takes you to this page. There's a couple of buttons here where you can download it, and then you can set up the sync so that if you have a particular folder or even a whole external hard drive, that can be uploaded and backed up into Google Drive really easily. And it will always stay in sync both ways if you add files in the web as well. You can also download a dedicated Google Drive app for both an iPhone or an Android, and that means you can access your Google Drive files wherever you are just by simply opening the app, and you can open up things like Google Docs and Sheets and be able to edit them on the fly too. If you're trying to decide whether to choose Google Drive or OneDrive, there's a few things that you should bear in mind. The first thing to consider is the ecosystem that you're using. So if you already have a Gmail account, for example, and perhaps you create the odd Google Doc or Google Sheet or Google Slides, then it probably makes sense to stick with Google Drive because everything will be available in one place and interconnected really easily. If you are already in the Microsoft ecosystem using tools like Word and Excel and PowerPoint, or you have an Outlook email address online, then it might make more sense to stay within OneDrive, because in the same way, it'll be interconnected with all of those apps and tools that you're already using. The next thing you might want to consider is storage. Google Drive comes with 15 gigabytes free of storage. OneDrive comes with 5 gigabytes. So if you think you're going to be using more storage and you don't want to have to start paying for it, then Google Drive might be the better option there. Next, you might want to consider whether you share and collaborate often. If you do, you might find Google Drive is a better choice because all of the tools are browser-based, so anyone working across any device will be able to join in. And they were built from the ground up always to be collaborative. Whereas in OneDrive, the Microsoft 365 tools, whilst they are available in the browser, they're also available as proper native apps on different devices. But it does come at the cost that maybe collaboration doesn't feel as natural in those apps, even though it is absolutely available and an option. You might also consider what device you mainly use. Google Drive does work in the browser, so it will work across any device, and you can set up a folder sync from your local PC or Mac to Google Drive, as well as access all of your files on mobile. OneDrive also has a mobile app, but it is very heavily integrated with the Microsoft ecosystem, which means if you're using Windows, it might make more sense to make use of the built-in OneDrive integration. So as you save files into your documents, they can automatically be backed up into OneDrive as well. Just don't forget that storage limitation from earlier, because if you want to upload absolutely everything, it's very likely you're going to need to upgrade your account, maybe by purchasing a Microsoft 365 subscription. To put it in very simple terms, if you're in the Google ecosystem and using Google's tools more often, then it probably makes sense to stick with Google Drive. If you're in the Microsoft ecosystem and you're doing most things there, then you should probably be using OneDrive. And if you use a bit of both, then you should make the decision about where most of your productivity is happening so that you can make use of the storage in that place too. So whether this is your first time taking a dive into Google Drive or you've been using it for a while and you just needed a tip or a trick, I hope that video was helpful. Don't forget it interconnects with other apps like Jotform, so you can take those submissions and put them right in Drive too. And if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.